spiritual practices, do they increase immunity?
In fact, in some cases, you will see the pictures of saints and sages and demigods and avatars, the eyes being half open, half closed. That's a perfect depiction of trance state. निद्रा और जागृति का एक साथ होना योग है. Spirituality comes much later. Right amount of sleep, right exposure to sunlight, right level of exercise, right level of breath. So depending on the kind of challenge you face, if suppose someone is working on computer too much, so their eyes are getting very tired, so you try to focus on sleep. If someone is waking up very early and sleeping a bit late, then sleep plus also warm water bath or dipping their feet in warm water. But it all involves different kind and degree and state of relaxation. Also, the way toxic words are used.
Okay.
Lot of times I've seen that in families, just to humiliate someone or just to make someone feel low or bad, you try to use negative words. If you tell the child to do something, it may or may not do it. But if the child watches you doing it, trust me, you create a near guarantee that they will try to do it.
Welcome to another episode of Pragya. We're going to bring well-being, good health for our mental and spiritual being. We have a wonderful guest with us, and his name is Yash Shekhar. I'm going to go with a rapid round with Yash. Yash, please, my first question today is a myth. Clear our doubts from the myth. Is healing real?
It is definitely real.
Where does it come from?
It primarily comes from your own brain cells, which are present in the spinal cord and comprise primarily of your central nervous system.
So you're telling me that it's scientific, or
It's
you're
very-
telling me that it's spiritual?
Look, it's more like definitely faith has a very strong role in healing,
Right.
but that doesn't mean it's not scientific.
Okay, so healing is scientific.
Definitely very scientific.
And where does it come from?
Primarily from our brain cells.
But does it come from the Vedas? Does it come from a spiritual time, or does it come from a recent study?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them see the same thing from different perspective. They are all trying to address the problem from their perspective, their knowledge level, and they are practically developing it. So in the last couple of 100 years, we have seen the development from a very allopathic perspective. And earlier it used to be from Ayurveda perspective and different, like Iranian also was there. So there are a lot of
Okay,
modalities.
so what you're saying is there's different modalities. The world is round. It's got so many cultures. It's got
Yeah.
so many countries.
True.
And every culture has had their own concept of healing.
True.
So scientifically, somehow, anyhow, it's now a proof to what was being done earlier.
Yes. So what has been happening that not only country wise, region wise also.
Wow.
So you will see that in certain regions, certain kind of herbs and medicines are available
Okay.
and not available in certain other regions. So what used to happen that the travelers used to bring these things, these medicines from one culture, one country to another country, and that's how the cross-cultural exchange happened.
Right.
Same with mathematics, same with astronomy, lot of
Yes.
subjects.
Yes.
It's been going on for a
Amazing.
very long time.
Tell me, the second myth is, can it help cope with mental health?
Definitely. When I talk about mental health, I'll talk slightly from the medical perspective. There are three hormones. There are many hormones, but three primarily affecting the mental health. One is serotonin. Then second is dopamine.
Okay.
And third is cortisol.
Okay.
So serotonin and dopamine are the happy hormones.
Okay.
They basically regulate the mental health primarily. They keep you. They're like rewarding you. When estrogen, testosterone, and other hormones affect the mental state. So your right action, right amount of sleep, right kind of sleep, right exposure to sunshine, right exposure to your level of sunlight plus exercises, right kind of food, all this affects all these hormones scientifically,
Right.
and they are in support to the breathing and the trance-like state.
So what you're saying is these are scientifically proven,
Completely scientifically proven.
and they are in different cultures.
Yeah.
And there is a part of it, the word can be called healing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
like a name of an animal. If you name an elephant, like elephant is called elephant. In Hindi we call it gaj. In Hathi, in Sanskrit we call it gaj. But the animal remains the same.
Okay.
The same way, this hormones or this set of hormones can be triggered by different kind of medicine. Once they are triggered, they'll produce a similar kind of effect.
Okay. So this is one aspect, which is healing. Now,
Yeah.
my third question to you is spiritual practices.
Mm-hmm.
Do they increase immunity?
Definitely. Whenever you use the word immunity, the prime thing which affects your immunity is your sleep.
Okay.
Your immunity is heavily dependent on your sleep. So
Okay.
as I said, your sleep depends on the kind of hormones being generated in the body,
Okay.
especially dopamine and also cortisol. So that affects the whole process, the whole program, even serotonin. So
Okay.
your sleep is affected by the hormones, which in turn affects the whole body chemistry. And finally, what is a spiritual practice doing? It brings you in trance state. Any
Right.
kind of spiritual practice, if you
Right.
see, talks about trance,
Okay.
be it in Indian culture or Buddhist culture or any kind of spiritual practice in any culture. In fact, in some cases, you will see the pictures of saints and sages and demigods and avatars, the eyes being half open, half closed. That's a perfect depiction of trance state.
Okay.
In fact, in Hinduism, they directly say, Nidra or Jagriti ka ek saath hona yoga hai.
And what do you say it in English?
And we say that when the sleepish state, which is the
Right.
mixture of sleep and wakeful state happens together, that's the state of yoga.
Right.
So it's a very relaxed kind of state. It's a lucid state.
Okay.
And that's a must for any kind of spiritual practice.
So is this when the alpha, the
Yeah.
theta state they talk about?
Actually, all three alpha, theta, and delta comprise trance states, but definitely theta is a very deep trance state, very rightly said. So if you can, that's why a lot of moderators named themselves as theta also.
Okay.
So theta is a very deep state of trance.
Right.
Less than delta, but still very deep.
I have studied theta healing,
Yeah.
and it seems really powerful,
Yeah.
and I for sure can endorse it. That I was fortunate to see many superb effects on my desires and my being, and also I saw the practitioners and the teachers. They were like almost able to manifest anything.
That's true.
Now, some of the things with theta was that you wake up from your sleep, from a deep sleep, and then you go into a soft sleep. You just still lie down there. Can you just throw some light on that?
So basically, if you notice, trance is of two kinds. One which is like a subconscious process, which is not in your control, and then where your consciousness level is higher, which is the
Right.
lucid state.
Okay.
So in that state, you can literally create your dreams.
Okay.
You will feel like as if you can take the dream state to any direction.
So is this the similar stage where it calls we call it like where you actually manifesting,
Correct.
or is it a state where you're
Yeah.
visualizing?
True,
A
truly.
part of meditation is called the visualization, right?
Truly.
So this
and
is
and this visualization doesn't depend even on sleep state or sleepy
Right.
state. If you can be creative enough, you can enter this state naturally by using your previous experiences also.
okay.
Let me give a very simple example. Take a slice of lemon, imagine it being rubbed on your tongue.
Right.
So if you have had lemon before,
Right.
by this simple exercise of imagination, you will create the generation of saliva by activation of salivary gland.
Right.
So you're not in sleepy state right now, but
Okay.
still, because of previous memory, this
Okay.
trigger happens and you
Right.
create real saliva.
Okay.
So what is happening is that imagination creating reality.
Okay.
So this can happen in trance state, in a sleepy state, even better.
So when you are healing your patients,
Yeah.
what is the modality that you use while doing so?
Look, not only me, to be frank, any kind of healer, and I also include allopathic and medical systems. Look,
Right.
we all are healers, even all the doctors are healers, but it's like a subset and superset kind of thing. Purpose
Okay.
is healing. You don't heal. No healer does the healing. Your own brain cells and your own body structure and the spinal structure heals itself. We all are catalysts to the movement.
Okay.
But because we are the catalysts, so we are called healers.
Okay.
But actually, you yourself heal yourself.
But
And we
is there
trigger
something
it.
that you activate within
Yeah,
us?
yeah.
Okay. So
we
what is
we
that thing?
activate first the happy hormones.
Okay.
We try to activate the immunity
Okay.
in long term and the happy hormones which give you hope in short term. So any healer primarily is trying to, first of all, it's more like the concept of a person is very hungry. You can't start teaching them how to cook at that time. You first give them food, let them have enough food. When they're strong enough, then you start their cooking course.
Okay.
So like that, a healer generally works.
Okay.
That they first give you enough mental energy by giving you enough hope, humor, happiness. This is all, scientifically speaking, activation of the dopamine hormone. They are
Okay.
primarily trying to do something like that, and basically taking you away from the stress state.
Okay.
So that's the first step. This builds trust and hope.
Okay.
Trust is the first level, hope is the second level. Even the words you use, they do this thing. The kind of names you use, the kind of names you keep, even psychological marketing field. If you see the name of certain companies, they are made to create trust or reliance.
Right.
So you see that's again like creating a happy hormone.
Okay.
So basically, a healer has to first of all create trust and hope in the patient. And once that secretion of those hormones start, your body naturally start responding to the treatment.
Super.
And you get results.
Amazing.
And once you start getting results, you first solve the problem, first step. And second step, you ensure the problem doesn't happens again.
Okay.
Which is a long-term solution.
Right.
So, that's the how.
So basically what I understood is that healing is real.
Definitely real.
It definitely just not heals you, but also, through the practice of healing, spiritual practices, you even can improve your immunity.
Definitely.
Right?
Immunity improvement is a basic part of healing.
Right.
Anybody who is getting healed, they cannot ignore immunity improvement. And if you study immunity, it's like different people going through different kind of experience of life, they have different immunity level.
Right.
So you can actually work and improve your immunity by visualization, imagination, and breath work. Amazing. That's why any kind of meditation and healing modality includes these two things very carefully. First is breath work, and second is imagination, which is like a guided visualizations. Okay. So a lot of cultures believe meditation is primarily imagination.
Okay.
That's
when is a suitable time normally? What's Brahm Muhurat?
Okay, Brahm Muhurat normally is like 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. That time period we call it Brahm Muhurat. But suitable time depends on your schedule, the way your lifestyle is. Okay. If you sleep too late, if suppose you sleep at 2 a.m. in the early morning, you can't be expected to wake up at 4 a.m. and then do your meditation. You must try to sleep properly.
Early to bed, early to rise?
Yeah. You follow nature, you follow the animals, especially the birds, they sleep very early and they wake up early. Okay. That's the best thing to do if you can do that. Excellent. Then again, if you sleep late, sleep till late. Please understand, if you sleep at 2 a.m., don't wake up at 6 a.m. Sleep for at least 7 hours, wake up at 9 a.m.
You need to sleep for 7 to 8 hours at night. Okay, Yash, my third question to you is, everybody's talking about chakras and it's so confusing which chakra to open up, and then you have this Kundalini yoga, then you have this particular chakra people are talking about, and then the throat chakra, and then the Swadhisthana chakra. There's so many chakras. Now, for a simple being, let's say my client or let's say our viewer is in America, totally disconnected with spirituality, and now wants to step into it. If they start with chakras, I think it may be a little bit complicated. What light would you like to throw on it?
Very like you said that, first of all, don't go immediately to chakras.
Okay.
First, always go on breath.
Okay.
So as I said, that breath is the prime thing. Because a medical perspective or health perspective or spiritual perspective, breath will definitely come.
So you're saying that the focus should first step towards your spiritual journey should be with the breath?
Yes.
And how is it done?
It's very simple. You know very well that how breath, a good level of breathing, affects all the organs.
Yeah.
How does it affects your mind?
Would you tell my viewers that?
So basically, when you breathing can be of three kinds: shallow and fast, deep and fast, deep and slow. So shallow and fast is the worst kind of breathing. Deep and slow is the best kind of breathing.
So deep and slow is that the breathing the yogis did?
Yes.
And is that why they have long lives?
Yeah.
So a good way of breathing would increase longevity?
Definitely.
Amazing.
Because you take more oxygen.
Okay.
Look, don't forget that oxygen and carbon dioxide, that ratio affects you a lot.
Okay.
If there's more oxygenation of the cells, it gives you a better health. So if you breathe deep and slow, your body is getting oxygenated for a longer duration of time and staying oxygenated for a longer duration of time.
So is that why we do pranayama?
That's right. The first process is for
the
pranayama.
management between the carbon dioxide and oxygen, is that what it is?
Yes, that's
amazing.
That's it.
So, and it's an old traditional, and yogis have been doing it for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And it's not unreal when I say that some of these yogis live till 200, 300, and even
Well,
now.
I will not go on that part of it because it
Okay.
becomes. It may be happening. First of
Okay.
all, just because I have not witnessed it doesn't mean it doesn't happen.
Okay.
There are a lot of things I've witnessed,
Okay.
and a lot of things I cannot confirm.
Okay.
So, but just because I cannot confirm doesn't mean it's not real. But what I've known and I've seen is that I have met gentlemen and ladies who have a very fantastic fit body at even 85, 90, and I'm saying not just fit, like fighting fit, super strong individuals.
Okay.
They all have a very stable and regular regime of breath work.
Okay.
I'm not saying only breath watching, I'm saying breath work.
Okay.
So first of all, the first component of any kind of spiritual practice or meditation includes breath work.
Okay, so that's the breath watching. So
and
step one is breath
breath work,
watching.
and second it goes towards what you just described in the chakra system.
Okay.
So Kundalini yoga or Kundalini way of meditation has its prime structure involving chakras.
Okay.
Chakra, the word chakra means something which is revolving and rotating at the same time. It's like a matrix, a moving circular matrix. It has a three-dimensional effect. But for simple understanding, take it like a spinal center in the spine.
Okay.
So all the chakras are in the spine, first of all. None of the chakras are anywhere else. They are in the spinal cord,
Right.
starting from the tailbone till the top of the skull.
Okay.
So they are primarily, we define them as 7 chakras or 7 spinal centers, which are most
So
important.
someone who's starting this journey about spirituality,
Yeah.
we've also discussed about healing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So breath, chakras, and healing go one after the other.
Yes. Exactly the sequence you said.
Excellent.
So it has to go in an order. You don't try to jump or skip. First should always be, and I am talking from the school I have learned, and not one school, many schools. You first go on the breath.
Okay.
Then you go on the chakras.
Okay.
Once you use the word chakra, you enter the realm of Kundalini yoga,
Okay.
which is the world of breath plus mental imaginative exercises.
Right.
And this combination should produce a kind of cellular effect, which is like measurable, which means you will see a difference in your psychological and physiological states.
There's so much anxiety in this world and so
Yeah.
much mental health issue
Yeah.
that there's so much, it's causing a lot of anger.
Yeah.
So an action like this will have a equal reaction, and the
True.
reaction would be calmness.
Yeah.
It'll be happy hormones.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be joy.
Yeah.
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 And
Yeah.
anger, which has become one of our biggest enemies to our own health,
Yeah.
will actually move towards a space of out of your life.
Definitely, because you start with gratitude.
Yeah.
Look, gratitude is an imaginative force.
Right.
So once you do breath work, you develop not only a good oxygenation level, you also develop patience.
Right.
Because when you're doing breath work, you have to be sitting or standing calmly for a very long duration. You develop
Right.
patience. Then you go on the imagination, which is starting with gratitude.
Okay.
So once I'm having gratitude towards someone or something, I cannot be dissatisfied.
So many masters around the world have spoken about gratitude.
Yeah.
And they said when we move with gratitude in the morning,
Yeah.
it's like almost like a spiral effect. We're
Yeah.
in gratitude, and the gratitude is like a seed which keeps growing,
Yeah.
Until the point when you are in gratitude for everything.
Yeah.
Is that a true feeling? Does it really happen to a human being?
It's totally true, because you see, any kind of anger is a result of dissatisfaction.
Okay.
A high level of dissatisfaction will always affect your hydration level,
Okay.
and it can affect your skin very fast.
Okay.
It's all very connected.
Okay.
So what is happening gradually when you're having gratitude, you are seeing the glass as half full.
Okay.
Or maybe I say you focus more on the full part than the empty part.
Right.
So you start seeing things from a different perspective. The glass
Okay.
remains as full as it is.
Okay.
You start seeing from the perspective which is more, I would say, positive and kinder.
Okay. So yogis, they've had longer lives because obviously they went to sleep early and woke up early, and they did their breath work, which gave birth to gratitude, which gave birth to a joyous them and a happier them, which gave birth to longevity. Now, in today's world, when we're constantly thinking of stress, desires, anxiety, social media pressures, desire pressures, acquisition pressures, this is a great tool for you to come home to yourself.
Look, also one thing that is that when you talk about mental health, we have to learn to discriminate. Look, intelligence, if you see Bhagavad Gita, it talks about the power of intelligence, and the prime power of intelligence is about discrimination.
Right.
So you have to solve any problem in the world, you must be able to divide it.
Right.
So discrimination is required. So in mental health, depression, anxiety, stress are three different words. When you're thinking about the past and you're becoming unhappy, that's depression. When you're expecting something in future, it's not happening, that's anxiety. And these two together, or because of some other factor also, can produce stress. But stress primarily is when something is not in your control.
Right.
So you see, there are
Yes.
three different things. So you have to understand, okay, like if you can't do something, just relax and try to enjoy it. I know it sounds so opposite. How can I enjoy it if it's not going as per the way? Because you can change the perspective. You cannot change the situation, but you can always change the perspective. If you're in a very sad situation, try to imagine someone or yourself in a more sad situation, you'll start feeling happy.
Okay.
And if you're in a very happy position and you feel that you can lose the control, imagine someone who is in a more happy position.
Superb.
So that way
Superb.
you'll get balanced. So balance
Okay.
is the key.
Amazing. May I ask you if yoga plays its role in our well-being?
Yeah.
And does it play a role in a well-being of a homemaker, someone who's going to work in this digital world, and a child who's studying in school?
Look, first of all, see the multiplicity of roles, especially homemakers are doing in their life, because you see that normally, if you see that the traditional system, men were doing certain work, women were doing certain work. Now the women are doing. I see women doing much more work now.
Okay.
Now the woman is doing the work outside the house. Then when she's coming back, she's also doing the work inside the house. So imagine the multi-management level.
Right.
So definitely a lady should definitely give a strong compartmentalization scheme where she's giving certain number of hours every day, every week, every month, every year for her meditation time, you can say, or I would use the better word, stress release time.
Okay, so would that be yoga? Would that be sleeping correctly? Would that be waking up
All of
in
them.
gratitude,
All
etc.?
of them,
All
because
of them.
everyone is unique and they have a unique set of challenges. So depending on the kind of challenge you face, if suppose someone is working on computer too much, so their eyes are getting very tired, so you try to focus on sleep.
Right.
If someone is waking up very early and sleeping a bit late, then sleep plus also warm water bath,
Okay.
or dipping their feet in warm water. So you
Right.
see, depending on the kind of issue, and you have to customize,
Right.
but it all involves different kind and degree and state of relaxation. Also, the way toxic words are used.
Okay.
Lot of times I've seen that in families, just to humiliate someone or just to make someone feel low or bad, you try to use negative words.
Right.
That is a very bad thing because your brain and mind is listening to everything. Try to use positive words or non-positive words.
So with children, this would be perfect, right?
Yeah.
Because we put so much stress on their studies. We put so much stress on that what they should
No,
do.
for this,
and
for
that.
children, we design mind training programs.
Okay.
How we make them mentally strong so that no negative word can affect them.
Okay.
And it's a very rigorous training. It goes step by step, stage by stage. And a child going through that training can literally laugh when he or she is being said something negative.
Wow.
Or done something which is to make their confidence go low. But it's
Right.
a training. You have to
So
adopt
a
it.
child sitting at home today listening to this with their family member.
Yeah.
So what's your one piece of advice to them?
First of all, every saint had a past, every sinner has a future. Don't judge yourself.
Okay.
Don't be too harsh on yourself and give yourself a chance.
Okay.
And just try to do the best of yourself.
Okay.
Don't focus on percentage, focus on percentile.
Okay. So would you tell them to consider doing yoga? Would you ask them to consider sleeping for the X amount of time? Would you tell them that they should watch their breath and meditate? Or
Look,
no?
4 things I start. Spirituality comes much later. Right amount of sleep,
Okay.
right exposure to sunlight, right level of exercise, right level of breath.
Okay.
These 4 are first.
And what about food?
Food comes after this.
So processed food is okay even if we're looking at these 4 steps and we can still eat processed food, you're
To
saying?
a certain degree we can. We should not prefer to eat processed food. I don't want to become a brand ambassador of promoting processed food. But if you have these 4 boxes ticked, your resistance to any kind of issues coming through processed food will be much higher than those who are not ticking these boxes.
Right. Okay. I want to ask you, how does martial art, dance, music help us connect to our spirit?
Look, music and singing,
Hmm.
they are primarily helping the mind.
Right.
And dance and any kind of martial arts or any kind of traditional dance arts, they are helping the mind and body coordination.
Right.
So they together have a very, very strong force.
So while we're doing that, then we can't think of the other thought, like create another story in the mind. Is that what it is? The
Kind of.
concentration
Kind
is
of.
so high, and
Yeah.
then we get used to
Yeah.
creating this high concentration, and therefore our mind quietens at the end.
Look, first of all, yes. What you said at the last is the main thing. When you are doing an act properly, when any act you do properly, you become the act.
Right.
If you're running properly, you become the run. If you're dancing properly, you become the dance.
Right.
So at that stage, your mind is totally still.
Okay.
The problem is not action. That's why in Bhagavad Gita, it's very, very clearly said, those who see action in inaction and inaction in action is a yogi.
Right.
So basically, in any state, you have to be balanced.
Okay.
In the chaos also, you can be still. In stillness also, there can be chaos.
Okay.
So just try to accept first. First of all is acceptance. And then you can change. That's why a very good prayer is that God give me the strength to change what I can and to accept what I can't.
Absolutely.
So,
how deep and how profound, I would say it is.
yeah, it's
Thank
very
you.
easy just to
Yeah.
start with like that.
I think it's really, really something what you said so simply. But if we can all do that, I really feel that we have achieved a great space of mental health and away from depression in a statement as profound as this. Thank you, Yash.
Thank you.
Yash, I'm going to ask you my next question,
Mhm.
which is you have been working with cancer patients.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many cancer patients you have healed and successfully healed, and you fly around the world doing the same. What is it that you give them that heals them?
Look, I have been supporting cancer patients. That first of all, if I've been healing them, it's not like I've been healing them only using healing sessions and my
Right.
mind training modalities. I've been doing it in support to their treatment.
So what I've just understood is they're going through their chemo, they're going through the radiation, they're doing that,
Yeah.
and then as a boost to that,
Yeah.
you heal them.
True.
And
True.
is it always you have to be there, or it could be through distance healing?
So basically, initially you have to be there.
Okay.
First of all, a cancer patient is a very huge responsibility.
Okay.
Because understand, when someone is having cancer, there's a high level of stress in their mind that they may die.
Right.
So that makes their whole psychological and physiological system react in a very negative way. To make that proper, you have to give them emotional support. You have to make them mentally very strong.
And give them hope, like you had said
Hope,
earlier?
hope and something beyond hope.
Okay.
Like you have to show them that it's possible.
Okay.
And this showdown happens primarily through the improvement in breath.
And what about the family? The family must be going through so much trauma. How do you, what is your line of advice to the family? Because, someone who's already in so much pain, trauma, and fear of their own life, and then the family members can either add to it,
yeah,
or assist.
True. Very well said. So the family members are in a multiplier's position in such cases, which means they can enhance the healing process.
Right.
Or they can degrade the healing process.
Oh, okay.
And they can cause more trauma to themselves and to the person who's being treated by this process.
Degrade. Can you give me an example of what
Suppose a person is having cancer, and it can be stage 2 or stage 3, and anything is possible. It can go anyway.
Okay.
And the family member starts saying that, oh, I have lost hope in life. I did a big mistake being with you, and you have brought my life to a halt. Whatever he or she is saying is right, but that's not the right time to say such things.
Right. So basically, it's important that when people faced with cancer or illnesses, because cancer is becoming so common, in WHO has spoken about it years ago that it will be a pandemic, and it's almost a pandemic right now. So a tip for the family members: this is not the time that you moan and groan. This is your time to support. And if you seem difficult to support, at least don't add to someone's misery. And it's important for you to take these steps, because any kind of healing cannot take place if the person does not have your support and your love and understanding.
So on a lighter note, it's more like, suppose in a game of cricket, a fielder has dropped a catch, and if I, being the captain, go and scold him more, so I'm not helping the guy. In fact, I am preparing the person for dropping more catches.
Oh.
So it's like that. I have to be, considerate and calm.
Okay. I'm going to ask you a question on. Sorry about these many questions that I have.
No,
I
no,
know I
no.
can go on for
And
hours
all
with
these are
my
very good
questions.
questions because anybody listening to this will have such questions, and you're helping them in a way.
Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you very much. Pragya, it's about just knowledge. We want to share knowledge which actually is going to benefit the
Sure.
people that are going to watch this podcast.
Yeah.
We're extremely clear that we want to bring the right knowledge,
Mm.
not something which is just baseless in terms of is not scientifically
Yeah.
backed up,
Yeah.
because our children today and the future tomorrow is they used to checking on everything
True.
scientifically.
And that's
So,
very good.
yeah,
That's very good.
thank
It's
you.
you should always encourage the younger generation to ask questions, and if they ask questions, they will help to release your doubts also.
Yeah,
So,
that's what Pragya is about. So
yeah.
I'm going to ask you my last and final question. As you understand, children are the future
Yeah.
of the world, just not our country, but the world. Quietening the mind helps us heal, removes us from mental health, depression issues, reduces the risk of diabetes, cholesterol, and cancer. Now, when all these things are happening, when we quieten the mind, when we eat right, we automatically start thinking right, with a combination of yoga, with a combination of breath work, with a combination of we are what we eat.
Yeah.
When do you think is a good time for a child to start these practices?
First of all, understand that a child watches the parent very carefully. Very carefully. Like like for a child, basically a parent is like a god.
Right.
Because they're in every way they are supporting the child. So what happens? The child watches you. So if you tell the child to do something, it may or may not do it. But if the child watches you doing it, trust me, you create a near guarantee that they will try to do it.
So it's basically you have to lead by example.
Yeah.
Yash here has given it to us very subtly, but we have to lead by example, because it's important the generation to come. It's important for today's generation to deal with all these issues in a smoother way. We were the catalyst of pain and let them be the beneficiaries of all the growth and learning that we have had. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.